Dumping, in the context of international trade, is when a company or country exports a product at a price lower than its domestic price. This is a form of price discrimination and is often considered an unfair trade practice, which can harm domestic industries in the importing country. Historical context of dumping in India. India's approach to anti-dumping measures has evolved significantly. Before the 1991 economic liberalization, India had a highly protectionist trade policy with high tariffs and import licensing, which made anti-dumping laws largely unnecessary. The high tariffs already protected domestic industries from foreign competition, including dumped goods. Following the economic reforms of 1991, India began liberalizing its trade regime, which included a substantial reduction in import tariffs. This created a need for new trade defense mechanisms. To align with international agreements like the WTO's anti-dumping agreement, India amended its Customs Tariff Act, 1975 to introduce Section 9A, which gave the government the power to impose anti-dumping duties. The first anti-dumping duty was imposed in 1992. Since then, India has become one of the most frequent users of anti-dumping measures globally, with a significant number of investigations and duties imposed, particularly in the chemicals and steel industries. Positive and negative effects. Dumping has distinct effects on both the domestic economy, the importing country, and the foreign economy, the exporting country. Positive effects. For the importing country's consumers, consumers get access to goods at significantly lower prices. This increases their purchasing power and standard of living. For the importing country's industries, sometimes, industries that use the dumped product as an input may benefit from lower production costs. For example, a manufacturer of a final product would benefit from cheaper imported raw materials. For the exporting country's economy, dumping can help a country get rid of excess production without disrupting its domestic prices. It can also help companies gain market share in a new country and achieve economies of scale by increasing production volume. This can lead to job creation and revenue for the exporting country. Negative effects. For the importing country's domestic industry, this is the most significant negative effect. The artificially low prices make it impossible for domestic producers to compete, leading to a decline in sales, reduced profits, layoffs, and in the worst cases, the closure of businesses. This can create a monopoly for the foreign exporter. For the importing country's overall economy, the decline of domestic industries can lead to job losses, reduced investment, and a decrease in tax revenue. It can also create a long-term dependency on a foreign supplier. For the exporting country's economy, while there are short-term gains, dumping can be a risky and expensive strategy. The exporter may have to sell products below their production cost, and if they rely on government subsidies, it can strain the national budget. It can also lead to retaliation from other countries in the form of anti-dumping duties or trade wars. Why and when dumping occurs. Dumping is a deliberate strategic decision made by a company or government for various reasons and under specific circumstances. To gain market share. A primary reason for dumping is to gain a foothold in a new foreign market. By selling goods at a very low price, a company can quickly attract consumers and capture a significant market share, driving out existing competitors. To eliminate competition. This is also known as predatory dumping. A company may temporarily dump goods at a price below cost to drive domestic competitors out of business. Once the competition is gone, the company can raise its prices and establish a monopoly. To sell surplus inventory. A company might have a surplus of goods that it cannot sell in its domestic market without causing a drop in prices. To avoid this, it exports the excess inventory to a foreign market at a lower price. This is known as sporadic dumping. Price discrimination. Dumping is a form of international price discrimination. A company may charge a higher price in its domestic market, where demand is less elastic, and a lower price in a foreign market, where demand is more elastic, to maximize overall profits. Government subsidies. Some governments subsidize their domestic industries to help them export goods at lower prices. This allows their companies to compete more aggressively in foreign markets.